Hello, Ascended Warriors. How are you doing this Friday? I hope you guys had a great week, that you're getting ready for the weekend. I just wanted to reach out and talk about or give some practical advice on how to push away fear, release depression, release all that anxiety that you're feeling right now because of the coronavirus and the political situation and racism and everything else that's going on. The world right now feels like it's spinning. So what that shows, and when we start to really think about what that is that means that we're very much up in our headspace. This is where depression lives. This is our wheelhouse for all the veterans, for all the first responders, for all the survivors of trauma. This is where we replay all the awesome things that have happened to us in our life. This is where we replay all the times we've been hurt, all the times that we've suffered, all the times that we've done something wrong. When you are in that headspace because of other outside fear, so you're scared of the coronavirus, you're scared of how that's going to affect your job, it puts you into a headspace where now it's easier for you to get sucked into the depression of the past. It's a wonderfully slippery slope, for lack of a better term. When you feel fear, it opens up your brain and your ego to start saying, oh, do you remember the last time you felt this fear? Do you remember how you messed up in that space? So the head, despite what we used to think, is not where you want to sit. Intelligence and the body as a whole is not actually controlled by your brain like we had learned when we were growing up. Science is now showing that the heart controls all the elements of the body. The brain is a hard drive. It is storing memories in order to keep you from walking in front of a car or touching a hot stove. So while incredibly important, you don't want to live in that space. If you're living in a space of memory where everything that you touch and do reminds you of pain, and you feel a physical pain today from an event that happened 20 years ago, you can snap yourself out of that. You don't want to sit in that place. The fear that we have been ingesting for the last year is really making it easier and easier for people to slip into old depressions, old pain. So what I advise and what I do for myself anytime I find myself spinning in my own head is I pull myself back down to heart. So when you live in heart, you are living in the present moment. If you ever studied Buddhism or any of the martial arts practices, it's very much about the present moment. Because when you're living in the present moment, you cannot focus on fear of the past. You cannot focus on past failures. You cannot focus on anxiety for the future because you're too focused in the present. The present helps you to block out everything else. So if you're feeling fear of the virus, you're feeling fear of the political situation, that is future. You're worried about the future. If you're feeling alone, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling unworthy, that is the brain, that is the past. So how do we get everybody out of their heads and into their hearts? Now, there's a couple of different techniques for doing this that I use on a regular basis. And one of the most simple ones is breath work. If you have ever done any breath work at all, breath work is a phenomenal way of pulling yourself out of your head to focus on the present moment. So breath work can be used anywhere. If you are sitting in a meeting and it is stressful, if you are working in a restaurant and you are just slammed, if you are in a combat situation, learning to control your breath helps pull you out of fear, out of stress, out of worry, and into the present. It allows you to focus on what you're doing. If anybody ever watched the show Scrubs, which I was a huge fan of Scrubs, the secret to that one doctor to slow everything down in order to deal with a lot of emergencies at once was breathing. So a really simple breathwork technique that I like, because I'm a very left-brained person, is the counting. Counting the breaths in, counting to 4. I like the box breath, is what I call it. You breathe in for a count of 4. You hold your breath at the top for another count of 4. You release your breath for a count of 4. And you hold it out for a count of 4. And you can do this while people are talking to you. You can do this while you're driving. You can do this anytime. It is a very discreet way of pulling yourself out of your head, out of your anger, out of your fear, and into the present moment, which is heart. So let's try that right now. So when you're going to breathe in for a count of 4 and hold and out and hold and in. Hold and out. Hold. You can immediately feel how that lowers your heartbeat, slows down the flow of blood to the body, and helps you to just relax. You can do that as many times as you want. You can do that with different number sets. I believe, I can't remember what the exact number was, but in some of the Buddhist traditions, they would get up to 16, 32 counts of holding and breathing out. And the slower that they could go, the more into a Zen state they got. But you don't need to do that. It can be that simple. It can even be as simple as pulling in for 4, holding for 2, and breathing out for 4 and holding for 2. Whatever is comfortable for you and fits. But by focusing on the counting, by focusing on the breath, you are pulling yourself out of fear. Another way to do that while you're breathing, if you can just naturally get into a soft breath after you've done that box breath for a couple of times, take your focus from counting into your heart. What I mean by this is like physically imagine, I don't think that's a real thing. Imagine your heart. Imagine what it looks like. If you are familiar with the chakra systems, I always imagine my heart as this beautiful emerald green space. And when I think about this in my imagination, I see this green space starting out as almost like a laser focus of green. And as I focus on it and I pay attention to that green, it expands. And I can feel my heart warming up even as I say this. And I'm just focusing on that green light getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You can focus on that green light just as it is. Just keep your focus at your heart space. Imagine what it looks like. Imagine that green energy swirling around, cleaning out your energy, your chakra. And you're just focused on the heart. You can do that at any moment of any day. Somebody cuts you off in traffic. Slow your breath down. Focus on your heart. Imagine your heart spinning. Imagine that green light. If you're fearful for someone or thinking of someone, hell, if you hate somebody, imagine that green light of your heart connecting to the green light of their heart and spinning. And it takes away that anger. It can take away your hatred. It takes away your fear. Because now you are not only present, you are heart-based and loving, and you're sending love to other people. So really, really simple techniques to pull you out of your head and into your heart. If you listen to any of you listen to the show on the Muses or any of the other work I've done, I'm very big on saying get out of your head and back into your heart, because fear does not exist here. It cannot survive here. It's not real. It's something that we have programmed into our heads to keep us from touching the hot stove. But at some point, it becomes detrimental when we allow ourselves to live in that space instead of our natural state, which is from the heart. anything that you can do to focus on that present moment, any of the mindful techniques, yoga, qigong, anything like that, that will pull you out of your head for a period of time throughout the day, makes it easier to do it again and again and again. Because that feeling of being heart-based, I can even hear the difference in my voice from when I was talking earlier. It's deeper. Every time you do it, you feel better. You feel more calm, and that feeling becomes addictive. You want to feel it again. Because that is better. You don't need to live in fear. You don't need to feel anxiety for the future. You don't need to feel the pain of the past because it can't hurt you. It cannot hurt you at this moment. The future cannot hurt you today. The past cannot hurt you today. Today you're here. And just feel what that is. Feel how that resonates through your cells to just sit in heart. Just for a minute, 2 minutes, 30 minutes. Multiple times a day if you want to, if you need to. And how I catch myself when I'm in headspace is if I start feeling anxious, if I start feeling panicked, if I start feeling sad or depressed, I have taught myself to just pay attention. I'm feeling sad. Why am I feeling sad right now? Well, there's nothing going on at this moment to make me feel sad. Even if there was, acknowledging that emotion allows me to consciously come back to heart. It's my choice. It's my power. It's your power. And it just makes everything more manageable. Everything. If you are having a bad day, if you are having a bad moment, if you're having a bad year, practice pulling yourself into heart through your breath, through your imagination, and watch the results of that. Try it. Try it once a day for 60 seconds. Do the breath work for 60 seconds and see how it works. Imagine that green heart space for 10 seconds. If you like the feeling that you get when you're in that space, do it more. Catch yourself when you are in a bad place, in a bad way, and acknowledge that you don't want to be sitting in that space, and pull yourself into heart. You have the power to do that. It is as easy as you need it to be. It only feels intimidating because it's unknown. And if you feel or believe that you are unworthy and that you deserve to feel pain or fear, you are a divine being. You deserve to be happy and heartful every moment of every day. You have the power to choose that. If you liked this tip, if you want any more tips on how to be heartful, how to pull yourself out of your head and deal with past traumas, please reach out to me on Facebook or YouTube. You can message me and check out more on ascended-warrior.com to see other videos that I've posted and other information. And join the Ascended Warrior Facebook group for more updates and events and whatever else is happening. So until the next time, thank you so much for watching. I am Chris Alicia, and I will see you soon.